Peace, family. Total Flash 2.0 here and back again. This video that I desire to do and is called the Metaphysical Truth about black holes and Etherea. And this was a video that I had to take some time to do because I wanted to do other videos that were necessary prior to this one to lead you up to it. So the thing about it is that I posted a picture, there's an image on my Instagram, and it was of a hawk, of a hawk being putting the hands up like this. If you've seen it, seen that image with beings in dark coats on around them, and the being putting up the oath, and also the black dragon right behind it. That's a symbolic of what the ethers is, and it's symbolic to the underworld, symbolic to what you call hell. But the thing about it is that it's not what it seems. It's only based on the universal divine order of the design of this universe. All through our lives, we've been taught that hell is a place where you go to, where your soul is on fire for eternity. And that's not true completely. But when you study metaphysics, as I studied metaphysics, and when I moved into the cosmos teachings and to the occult, one thing that I realized that there's certain areas I had to nitpick in certain areas to get to this truth, along with my connection with the Universal Prime Creator. And one thing about the Universal Prime Creator, according to the cosmos, is that the Universal Prime Creator always forgives her children, all of her children, no matter if they have a soul, a tainted soul, or have no soul at all. And so the thing about it is that I want to prove to you that this design is based on progression, and that's basically what it's really about. It's not based on putting a soul into one place for eternity. And I'm gonna go and I've already posted, haven't posted yet, but I'm gonna post a video that proves that the design of this universe is based on the feminine principle, based on how everything is, okay, how everything is set up. So first, I'm gonna just start off with the black holes, okay? Black holes are like the vortex, okay? And that it's like a vortex. And if you watch the movie Interstellar, okay? In the movie Interstellar, the spaceship goes. They had their spaceship, or the spaceship goes through the area of the black hole, right? And then sent them to a different space and time. Yes, that is true. They had it right that the black holes do usually do that. When something goes to a black hole, it goes to an area of space and time where time changes, and that if someone went into the black hole, then they would find themselves losing time in another space and time somewhere else. Black holes can also transport you to a different dimension and so forth. But you got to have the proper technology to know to be able to, say, manipulate black holes. And basically, when you think about it, our celestial family, they know how to do that with black holes. Okay? And because according to the Cosmon, it is said that when being a multidimensional being, you're able to make your spaceships from Etherea, okay? And which that brings me to the point where black holes also transport anything that goes in straight to Etherea, okay? And so you gotta look at, when I'm talking about that the universe is set up in a feminine way, you gotta think about it, think of the black hole being the vortex, which is the woman's, yes, I'm trying to keep it PG, but the woman's, yes, vagina. And that's how it's set up, literally. And so with that said, when something goes into that black hole, and whatever puts into the black hole is gonna go straight to the place for it to be say remanufactured of some sort. You see, and so everything that goes into the black hole, black holes don't literally destroy anything; they transport. And basically, according to my research, that black holes as well, they also there's at least one black hole per galaxy. Okay, and that's basically, and the duty of a black hole is to basically, yes, refurbish, say, old material in the universe that needs to be remanufactured, updated to update a certain galaxy or some sort, or any other. Comets actually come out of black holes, you see? So everything that is of creation, that proves that everything that is of creation comes from black holes. But the question is, like I said earlier, where does it go? It goes to the womb of the universe, which is called the Vesica Pisces, which is the womb, literally the womb of the universal prime creator. So this proves dead on that the universal prime creator is dominantly feminine. Okay, dominantly feminine, and that what is going on in the Vesica Pisces, or which is Etherea, is that anything that goes in there, if it's a non-soul or tainted soul or whatnot, what's going on is that it's given more life, more love, being cleansed of love, being since it's ether is a composition. The way I see it, and what I've learned is that it's a composition of all the elements in the universe, right? Water, fire, earth, and air. Every element you could think of on a periodic table and so forth it makes up ether. And so whatever goes in there, the soul of that being, it burns. You see, of that being, of that soul, it burns. So it just adds more soul. You see, more soul into that person now, or a being of some sort, right? Or their soul, period. It makes the soul connect back to the source. And think about it, all of our souls come from the darkness, the chaos, which is there in the womb. You see, quantum metaphysics, same thing, and the occult as well, is that when babies are in their they're in the womb, they're in chaos when they're in the womb. Okay? Well, before they're being born, they're not seeing any sunlight and so forth. And so, and I might as well go right into that and let you know that when we actually say, I guess, pass away, okay, depending on the type of life we lived, all of us gonna have to go in front of the council to the Confederation of Light. Okay? And from there, what's gonna happen is that most definitely our heart is gonna be weighed. And this don't have and I don't wanna put too much information on this video based on my eye, but mine is based on the scale of the heart, and also based on the alkalinity or the acidity of your heart as well. And also the thing about it is that it's proven that if your body is like acidic, you're gonna start being mad or being mean to other people and so forth. You see, and so, but if it's more alkaline, you're more at peace. When your body's more alkaline, if your heart is alkaline, you're more at peace. You're more one with nature. You're more in love, you see. And so nature guides us into living by the laws of Ma'at. So basically the original ways, the original Ma'at based on nature, it all in the scales of Ma'at based on what our ancestors up in ancient Kemet set up, the way they did. It all comes together to bring up one guiding system based on law in nature, and that makes it natural law. So the Confederation of Light, they go by natural law, and they have the correct direct connection with the universal prime creator. Now, so when that happens, we all go back to the ethers, to the womb. The only thing about it is that those that, yes, have lived righteous lives, yes, we go back to the source and we reunite back with our Etherian parents there in the womb. We have Etherian parents. And I know this is very complex, but that makes the idea of hell obsolete. But I'm gonna talk about something particular to that later in the video. But that's actually happens, you see, and when we talk about the ethers, there's different forms of ethers, different layers. But and I think on my notes I have there's blue ethers, yellow ethers, and the red ethers, and also white ethers. Okay, but the red ethers, we're actually living in the area of the red ethers. You see, this red means desire. Okay, notice that we're in an area where we're desiring everything. See, you look at a good-looking man or a good-looking woman, or a good-looking this and that. That's the item. You're set up on the object of desire. You see, and for us to make our ascension, we have to move out of that idea that we have to desire things. You see, we have to get out of that, because that's where we get possessed by possessions. You see, saying, "Oh, it's mine." You see, but not realizing that all we need is love in our lives for ourselves and each other, and realize that what is mine is yours, and that we move toward being passive. You see, and so that's what kept us in this third dimension for a while. What we in that case, because we've been filled with feeling like that we had to live our lives based on needing our possessions, not realizing that we are the original technology. You see, so the thing about it is that when we're, say for, when we talk about reincarnation, once we move back, see our ethereal parents again in Etherea, what happens is that, before that time, we know where we may end up, where we're headed, what type of life we're going, based on what the decision that was made by the Confederation of Light, and based on the universal prime creator. People say that it's, and I know that this may not make sense, and I know, because I know people say, okay, people that had near death experiences said, or were in comas and so forth. They said that they saw God in front of them. They saw God in front of them, and that in light, and they don't realize that they may have seen a member of the Confederation of Light. You see, they may not realize that. You see, and so I think that's, personally, based on what I've been studying and looking into, is that's basically what I feel like what's been happening. Because really, there's when we talk about angels and so forth, they will be projected as wearing white robes and so forth, but we don't expect the same type of angel to be wearing dark material and so forth. It's the same thing with the Ethereal realms and so forth. So I want to make that clear, and so forth with that. So that's the design. So I want to let you imagine something. When we in the higher dimensions, when all this is going on between us going in from one life to the other, is that that at the same time while it's happening, we already may be in the womb of another, and say not just in the physical, or in another, say, woman's womb, at the same time while we're just entering the vesica Pisces. And so, and I know I'm kind of skipping around a bit, but one clue that I realize is that when we talk about Anubis, that we had to go through the ethers, and I remember saying in my video with Melanin's evolution is that it's murky. Okay, notice that the name of Anubis, the Greeks named Anubis, named the god Anubis, and the Egyptians called him Anapu. Okay, and so remember the word. If you look at the ANU, Anu means people, right? And bis and it comes together making abyss. So that's where you can make a connection that Anubis has the energy of Anubis, or there's an energy, or a certain energy like that is governed based upon those that commit crimes and so forth. Or that's not in the consciousness of the creator, that is not living based on divinity. And that's where an energy like Anubis comes in. And so and I need to really make that clear. And so I gotta really talk about this one thing. There was a story I came across where people that had death experiences where they died and then they came back, and these are people that committed murder, committed crimes, and so forth. And they said that when they died, they saw dark beings. Dark beings with red eyes. Staring at them. And they said they were scared of their mind. They were frightened. Really frightened. They didn't know what was going to happen. And then later then they were so thankful for life that they made sure that they repented for all the crimes they did. These were people that went to jail or went to prison and so forth that committed crimes intentionally. And their lives they made sure they made it right. And so when I had heard information about that, I came to realize that when it comes down to staying in the constant of the Creator, the universal prime Creator has a design. And basically, when you talk about implementing the natural law, okay, that the universal prime Creator works in the same way. This is a masculine force. And when we talk about the underworld and hell, we gotta realize that beings that commit crimes, no matter if they have a soul or a tainted soul or non-soul that commit crimes, period, all of us are bound to maybe seeing this, and that I came to realize that when you talk about when you look at in ancient Kemet, they had the underworld of Osiris, and that when you talk about the underworld of Osiris, okay, basically what they were talking about is that there's an area in Etherea, a part of Etherea, where beings of this nature, that if any being that had committed anything that does not have the consciousness of the Creator, they'll be instantly ordered to drag the souls instantly toward chaos, for their soul to burn under the ether. And so that's how I'm seeing it. Okay, I'm not saying that I totally say believe in this, but I've been given so much information in my spiritual and certain nightmares that I've been thinking like, man, like this stuff gotta be real, because there's no coincidence that people have stories about this and so forth. But the thing about it is that I don't think it's based on that in that way. According to the Cosmon, that the universal prime Creator always forgives her children. You see, and that whoever commits those crimes, they're gonna be bound to a certain dimension that's pretty low, or it may be where they may be forced down to this dimension, and it may be where they have to learn from their mistakes. You see, and there's other people that talk about how people that have hauntings, when they have hauntings, and they go to a witch doctor, and it was a story, actually a true story, and it was a guy that was a ghost whisperer, and it was a man that did not look like me. He was, yes, a white man, and he basically, what happened was that there was always a voice. He said he told the witch doctor that told the ghost whisperer that, hey, I've been there's a voice that keep telling me to kill myself or to hit a knife to myself. And I know I didn't say this in the video of the metaphysical reason why suicide exists, but I wanted to keep it toward this video. And so, with that said, this ghost whisperer was a guy that could see spirits and so forth. And basically, he saw the spirit And the spirit was looked like he was a slave. Yes, a slave from the 1800s or so forth. And the spirit told the ghost whisperer that, hey, this man right here that I'm haunting, he had raped and murdered my wife and my child. And basically those spirits, they know who's coming back and incarnating back into this third dimension. And so he was one of them. And so the ghost whisperer, he told him, he said, hey, your wife and daughter is right over there. And then the spirit saw his family, and he walked straight to him. If the man did not go and get some help, he would have committed suicide. And so what happens to these tainted souls and these non-souls or souls that commit these crimes without repenting, that they did it on purpose, and they didn't say, forgive me, God, or forgive me, or even show any mercy or any learning, didn't seek forgiveness, they'll be just like that man right there. To where, yes, tricks will be played upon the being. So the big fabrication of it is that the main reason of the design of this universe is that when you go into a certain life and you committed a certain crime, the universal prime creator is not going to bound you to hell or the underworld for eternity. Your soul is going to be filled with love by these beings. And once you incarnate back into another body, into the third dimension or wherever any other third dimension there is, most likely it's probably going to be a third dimension. Or not. Because you can't really commit any crimes like that in the fifth dimension anyway. And so you're going to be haunted by those that you had hurt so bad. That's why it's so important to evolve and love one another. And that's why some of these paranormal activities and all this stuff occur, because usually when it comes down to this draconian influence, they manipulate that. You know, they good with this magic where they can just manipulate people and just play tricks on people and to make them think that something's wrong with them, or play tricks to society that something's wrong with them. But they've been playing this game with people all this time, and they've been keeping certain spirits living. This is our ancestors that died, that went through slavery and pain. They're constantly going through that pain unless we undo our karma. You see, same with those that commit the crimes. You see, and that's what happens. And that's the gist of this all this. And so I had to, bring this out. So this proves that so-called hell isn't really real. It is just based on an area of repenting and learning. And that these black holes, to sum it all together, is that these black holes are like a transport to the womb of the universal prime creator, which is of the woman of the womb man of the dark matter. Okay? And that there's an area of those ethers where it is of the masculine essence. And the thing about it, those beings, let me tell you, those beings that those criminals saw, okay, would most likely would have been, well, could be anybody, could be you and me that has an etheric body, you see, and that what's going on is that a part of our soul exists in the ethers, you see. The ethers are part of us. We were born from the ethers. And when we have to go through it again in a certain space of time, in any way that the universal prime creator fits for us to do a certain duty upon other souls. That's why when I talked about what I talked about in my video before, is that when I explained who or what the universal prime creator is, that's what I was talking about. What I meant by disciplined certain souls that commit senseless crimes. And so it ain't nothing based on pain or so forth. It's kind of like the Ghost Rider again, where in the movie The Ghost Rider, where he confronted someone that committed pain upon someone else, and he had glared his eyes into his eyes, and then he was invoked with all the memories. That criminal was invoked with all the memories of the souls that they had hurt and killed and put pain upon. You see? And yet, you see that may be the punishment right there that our soul may go through if we commit certain senseless crimes and do not repent. And that's the key. If we don't seek forgiveness, and I'm telling you right now, every single being in the universe, no matter if it's all beings, aliens, no matter what it is, they're bound to this universal divine order. You see, every being is, and that the thing about it is that we have controllers over our planet. And you already know, I already said who our enemy was. And with the fact that Nibiru is coming close, is that they have three choices. Either settle for Nibiru, 2, settle for the ethers, or go back to their home constellation. Those are three things. Period. And I had to say these things because it is time for you to be free. If you someone that did something bad to someone else, you committed a senseless crime, know that the universal prime creator, you have time to forgive yourself, to repent. You know, and you're not gonna get this information from nowhere else. Period. Like this came from me just putting all the puzzles together and realizing that when I heard about the story of those criminals and what they saw, I knew right then and there that there was a connection, and that we've been lied to think that forever and ever we're gonna be put to a place where we're gonna be there for eternity if we do bad. Because there's no coincidence why people don't act like they don't have any conscience toward that type of way, because they don't know this truth. They don't know this truth. And I know it's the truth because karma is big, and the universe. That's why I say that there's no reason to even start wars. When you know that when you connect to the universal prime creator, you know the universal prime creator will take care of herself. And whoever beings that are told to do something upon her order, you know, to implement the love. And that's how this works. And yeah. Um, this is the truth, and so that's why it's so important to really have a conscience. And so yeah, I didn't want to keep it, too long, and I know it was over 30 minutes, but I just want to let you know that that's the design. It is based on the feminine aspect all the way in love. And so the issue is that our so-called adversary has a choice to gain consciousness. And realize they're no better than they're not better than us, and we're not better than them. And so that's really what it was really all about. And so I know it's one thing I had to say, but I think that's really it to say. And so and yeah, if you're seeking balance, seeking love within yourself, you don't really have anything to worry about. Just stay close to the universal prime creator as much as you can, and live by that divine order, and that's really what it is. Oh yeah, and I apologize, but there is one thing that proves that this is also of a feminine area of already feminine aspect. The way I said, and according to the Cosmon, it's Cosmon teaching as well. And I think I said this earlier, but comets, yes, they actually come from black holes. Think of comets as, yes, the sperm. Yes, the sperm. Think of it like that. And as it says in the Cosmon that comets, they make planets. They can create moons, they can create suns. I think that most definitely that usually the process is that some comets work the same way as would work when the sperm reaches the egg for I forgot what it's called. Not fermentation. Ovulation. I think that's what it's called. My apologies if I got it wrong, but some of the comets that didn't make it to create a planet, they actually die off. And so there's maybe one left over. I think it's 1 or 5 and so forth that basically creates a planet, and that's how Teresa was made. And then she started off as somewhat stardust, and then formed up, the original way of being filled with fire, like Venus, how Venus looks, and so forth, becoming colder. And then there you go. You have volcanoes being formed, so forth. I think, and creating land and land mass and more water, or being covered with water. Being covered with water after the coldness of the planet, and then next thing you know, yes, the volcanoes form after that, and then boom, land mass is created. So same with other planets. They may have their depending on the composition, depending on how comet was. Certain comets were made, you could say, refurbished in the ethers or the vesica Pisces, and taken out in the black holes. It depends on what type of planet it would be, depending on the structure that it was given. So that's basically what's going on in the vesica Pisces, in Etherea. Everything is being remanufactured. Our souls, okay, because like I said, there's different types of beings in this universe. So it takes a certain amount of your soul to even go in a certain body. You see, Soul, like animals don't have the same type of soul as we have. It takes a different type of soul to be in a body like we have. You see, so every soul has their progression over time. And when we talk about suns, and I think I'm gonna leave this last note. Suns, see that sun we see is only a hologram, and that the reason why it's condensed to it, the true nature of it, it goes black, because that right there, we gained a piece of our soul from the sun to, yes, get, say, a tan, right? But, you know, I'm already tan, but to use our use the sun rays as a way of getting more of that vitamin D, and so forth, to complement our melanin, all of our melanin. And so once it turns black, what's going to happen, well, I'm not going to say basically when it's still that same way, when we're in the sun a lot, our soul is more gravitated. We become more of a soul man. People say when I go sun gazing, right, I become more of a light being. You see, that's how the sun is our part. Another part of our soul is there, but we gain more of our soul there, because really what's hiding behind the sun is not a black hole, but the darkness. You see, it's like a black dot. There's a black dot, but there's more of it in there. So I'm gonna speak more about the sun, because they're based on Dr. Blair's studies, and what he noticed is that he's seen there was actually a ship going inside the sun, and you're thinking like, whoa, you know, like wow, there's things we do not know about our sun or about the suns that we have in the cosmos. And I got to the point where, man, really the universal primary carrier can do what she want to do. You know, she can do what she wants to do. And so, meaning that there may be a certain dimension that the sun is on, where there's actually certain beings that you don't see that's in there, that we may not be known of. Maybe from the ethers. I'm not really sure. But there's no coincidence that when we go outside, that we do attract a piece of our soul to us, to where we express more of our soul. That's the metaphysical side of it. And once it condenses to black, to where it's all black, you see, and where it's outskirts of the sun, and the outside, imagine what's going to happen to all of us. Because I think that what I think is going to happen is that we will be able to connect to all our past lives just like that. Every life we lived, and that a whole entire soul will be expressed just like that. And so that may have been for another video, but I had to say that because we got to realize that this is the spirit, but we do have the soul within us. It's just that we exist in other planes that's just resting. You see? And that's what having the soul, it's a blessing to have your soul. And that's why your soul is so important, because why it's so important to stay in the consciousness of the Creator. You do not want to ever not leave the consciousness of the Creator, doing things to where you may end up where you may not have a soul anymore. You have to work on getting it back again. Like because our controllers, they don't hardly have their soul, and they desire to have yours. You see, and so that's the thing. And there's a connection between melanin and is being close to your melanin. I can say that there's a connection between having melanin and being close to your melanin. Okay. Being close to it. Are you in the there's a science behind melanin and your soul, you see? And according to Dr. Blair, when you have more melanin, you're able to express more of your soul. That's the truth. And this doesn't have to do with this. This does not have to do with black and white here. This has to do with the truth. Like this has to do with metaphysics. This is because that's how you that's how you are the way. That's how you be able to express yourself more and more. You see, because you notice that people that look like me really they can easily express themselves so easily. You see, and so I'm not trying to downgrade nobody. It's just that there has been a crime that's been done to us for us to look so different, you see, and for us to have difficulty in connecting to our soul once again. And that's the thing. So I didn't mean to make this video this long, but I just want to let you know that that's the design, and that's when as we see our planet shift, okay, and consciousness more and more. The more we connect to our souls, the more we get that sunlight, the more we're gonna become who we meant to be. And so that's the thing. So that's really it. And yeah, that's the science. And so I just wanted to provide this information to free you and let you understand that there is no hell. There's only the process of progression in many ways in the universe. That's how great the universal prime creator is. She forgives all her children. Indeed. Peace and love. Infinitely. Total Flash 2.0. Here, back again. Peace.